Story time. The first time I posted this story, it was done in a hurry, so here. I correct everything that was wrong in the first time around. It's a story about love, vengeance, betrayal, and friendship. I swear to you on my dog's anal virginity that no walking dinosaurs, tree fitties, West Philadelphias, or Pokemon adventures are in store. Be me, 16. Lived in a small 3-bedroom house with my mum, pops, and psychotic tween bitch, number 9682348. Parents are strict as fuck. Korean fanatic Christian strict. Me and my sister, whom we shall call Sis, had our own bedrooms. I was allowed to have an old desktop in my room. This privilege was given under the No Masturbation Proclamation of 2008. Had to have the door unlocked 24/7. Parents monitored my website activities so that I may never stray from the path of the true Jedi. Bitches don't know about my incognito mode.html. Parents worked till midnight, so they made bitch Sis enforce the no locked door rule with an iron nozzle. Bitch Sis stopped by my room every now and then tried to keep me on my toes. Bitch didn't realize I was the goddamn Russian ballerina tiptoeing through tantalizing testicles teasing tubes. I became Daredevil, heard people coming into my room from miles away. Developed the reflexes of a tweaked up spastic tiger opening and closing the window like I'm a 1980s hacker rung up on meth. Kind of privacy, so I watch, and I want to use the memories to relive them in my shower. And as much as I would like to discuss my fapping habits, they do have little to do with the story, so I'll stop there. Sister brought boyfriend to house from time to time, scrawny, metrosexual faggot, looks like Justin Bieber, and a slightly less feminine version of himself had a child. Dude acts all cool, understanding in front of parents. Sis convinces them she's trying to save his soul, so they give him their blessing. Parents put me on CockBlocker duty, or how the tables have turned.gif. I enforced the No Penetration Act of 2009, so well did the NSA send me some recruitment literature. And, just like everything I do, I practiced and perfected my craft into an art form, always waiting for the right moment, always aware of the moods and opportunities. I'd pop out of the shadows every time I heard them go quiet, and would just stand there and stare at them. Like a ghoulish shadow in the corner of their eyes, I destroyed every chance they got, every move they made. Like the judgmental eyes of a wrathful god, I peered into their very souls as an eerie and awkward as the whole of /MLP at Toys R Us. I am the creeper terror, watcher voyeur! I am the eyes in the darkness, the century of night, mine is presence and judgment and power, I am the CockBlocker. My sister got real tired of my shit, and so did their poor excuse for a flesh dildo. Seriously, just go fuck at a hotel the night before. In their frustration, they devised a plan. A poorly thought out plan. A plan that would only serve as fuel for the raging inferno that was my lack of social life and surplus of free time. While I was enjoying my shower time, they went into my room and browsed as well as downloaded some hardcore gay BDSM. It before OP actually loves cock and being called the dirty little whore. I never saw it coming. Parents came home from work, checked my homework, and went through my PC as always. Shit hit the fan so hard, bits and pieces were raining down 3 days later in downtown Cincinnati. As soon as I saw what it was, I felt a mixture of laughter and dread. It was like watching a psychopathic clown shove rolls of quarters up a midget's ass and knowing you're next. They purged all of my internet, video, and computer privileges. And from then on, I was to go to Sunday school. I knew he was responsible for this travesty, and I knew where they lived. Just like any woman on the internet, I needed attention before I show my tits. Here we go. As unlikely as it sounds, I have friends. One of which is a master of fucking with people. He asked to be called Gerald. Gerald and I discussed some plans before finally deciding on the one that was most likely to succeed. Phase 1 of the plan. Fear. I didn't have anything to do with my free time other than read, since I wasn't allowed anywhere after 5 PM. All my time was spent dicking around in my room. I even stopped checking up on my sister. They think they've won.png. Every now and then, I would laugh. Not my normal laugh, but a high-pitched, vibrating laugh with small pauses in between exhales. Think a gruff Santa elf getting his dick sucked while bench pressing. First efforts were useless, but after a white boy toy and sis start to notice. I would listen until they went quiet. Then, I would do it loud enough for them to notice. Did it 3 to 4 times a day. Never did it with parents at home. One day, sister asked about the sound coming from my room. I act confused, and chuck it up in the wind coming through in the bathroom window. She doesn't buy it. Knew it was me. Makes me comment about me missing my gay BDSM. VPK. Kept doing it for the next few weeks, till she got truly annoyed and began to come into my room to tell me to stop it. I never got caught doing it. I am always vigilant, and I would stop if she was too close. Kept acting like I didn't know what she was talking about. Acted concerned about our well-being. The seed of vengeance has been planted. Everything was coming along nicely. After a month or so of my neurotic SpongeBob laugh, she became used to it and thought nothing of it. This too was part of the plan. Gerald is loaded, so he has all kinds of shit he doesn't need. He lent me a voice recorder. Tiny motherfucker. I could hide it just about anywhere, but the bitch could get a decent audio input. I recorded my laugh. First thing, I hid it in a nook between boxes full of old clothes in my room. Made sure it would be hard to find, yet enough room for the audio not to be suffocated. I walked out into the living room and made sure Sis and third line saw me leave. Then I said I was going to the store. I walked out of the house and made my way to the nearby 7-Eleven. I left behind the recorder, ready to set off 13 minutes after my departure, and 10 minutes after the first laugh. I entered the 7-Eleven and stuffed my face with ice cream bars, like I was Sacha Grey in an interracial gangbang for 20 minutes. Went back home exactly 30 minutes had passed since my departure. I entered my house and found that Sis and Timberlake were in the living room. Oh, the look on their faces when I came into the house. Gets me wet every time I think about it. The tingles down my spine feel like someone is massaging my prostate with a cow prod. The fear in their eyes. Unmistakable fear. It took all of my years of samurai discipline not to burst out laughing. They looked like they just saw me crawl out of a giant asshole on the wall. I channeled my inner Bale and acted confused and concerned as I possibly could. Asked them if something happened. Said they looked shaken. Looked Sis in the eyes as I said it. She got pissed. Began ranting. Saying things like if this was my idea of a joke, I was sick. All bunch of accusory shit. As if she didn't just see me come through the front door. She kept asking me how I did it. I put on my best scowl and asked if she's on drugs. Tell her she's been acting all kinds of fucked up since she brought honey pants to the house. Shot the faggot an angry look as I did. Dude looked as confused, like he just discovered Asian Nookie is slanted just like our eyes. Told her was gonna tell Mum and Pops how she was acting. This seemed to cool her off a bit. Sis was reminded how I held the power to narc, like the little coward she knew I was. I told her to get his shit straight and stop doing whatever they were doing. Walked off like a Texan cowboy right after the Alamo. Phase 2. Paranoia. It was a week and some change since the voice recorder incident. Sis hadn't yet told the parents anything about the prank. I am the puppeteer. Laserdisc. My laugh had began to affect her again. She would run to my room to catch me doing it. She forgot she was Candace and I was Phineas and Ferb. She couldn't catch me doing it. Sometimes I would use the record in my room while I was in the living room, just to fuck with her. She went through lots of shit in my room trying to find it. It made me worry she might have done it at one point, but no dice. She told me it could only be me doing the noise that Joe Jonas could hear it too. Ignored her, kept watching my documentary on narwhals and other Arctic creatures. I would do the laugh in longer intervals now. I would skip some days just to give her a false sense of security. She was losing sleep. She couldn't enjoy her time with her Lance Bass anymore. She kept trying to catch me. She can't catch the Kenyan gingerbread man, bitch. I became the sneakiest little shit that ever lived, considered a carrier in the espionage. Nah, it would ultimately get in the way of my dream of becoming a Pokemon Master of Kanto. The day came where she could not take it anymore, and once more threw the parents at me like a pair of rabid dogs at a smell of a paralytic retard. Told them I kept trying to prank her, but I was really immature and annoying Johnny Depp was there to back her up. Parents served me 11 types of shit. Told me I was walking on ice so thin that I could become an Olympic figure skater. I stuck to my guns like an inbred Republican after a mass shooting. Gave an Oscar-worthy performance about how my innocence made it clear that I was nowhere near the house. I won the Oscar later that year and gracefully dedicated it to DiCaprio, without whom I would be no one. I saved my receipts I had in the Alabi. I was a rapist on a foreign land with a diplomatic immunity. Get on my level. Parents believed me. Shit, even I believed me for a while. But Sis was still disgruntled, insisted I was lying. Parents gave us that we're too old for this shit talk, warned me, and left me off the hook. This gave me an erection so hard enough to bludgeon a larger antelope into submission. The time was upon us. All my hard work was paying off. I spent all that time setting up the dominoes. It was time to push. Phase 3. Cow dung to the industrial fan. Friday night, Mum and Pops had a date. I was left alone with Sis. She asked if she could call Cullen over, and they said yes. Faggot said he couldn't come. At this point, I knew the goat was slaughtered to the Adamus god of mischief had granted me this blessing. Ever since the laugh incident, she knew never to be alone in the house. She knew that I was the only possible explanation for the laughs. The only logical explanation, if only humans could be more logical. I packed my stuff and told her I needed to go to the library. She looked nervous. God knows she would be right to be. I said goodbye and walked out the door. Head held high, feeling like a man with a dick the size of a baby elephant's trunk. I went to the library and took 25 minutes by bus. Once there, I grabbed the first book that interested me and checked it out in the corner, sat down and began reading. This was out of my hands now. All I could was wait. Now, this was the account of the events that were transcribed at my home as told by Gerald. B. Gerald, age unknown, by the greatest neckbeard that was ever lived. I kiss girls because I'm a faggot. I left school early that day and made my way to a non's house. Found the keys to the house under a green stone turtle in the backyard. I opened up the door and went inside. Made myself a sandwich, played with my PSP in a non's room until he came home. Once he was there, I hid myself in his clothes and waited for him to leave. He winked at me and left the house. I waited in the clothes, heart pounding, dick erect. Clothed in my back tattered monk hood and my mutilated pig-head mask. Fuck. With me, I had the voice recorder I lent Anon. Attached it to it was a small clip-on amplifier. Recorded it inside lines by Anon. I was to wait 45 minutes after Anon had left before I could come out. When the time came, I taped the recorder to my chest, cracked my knuckles, and set out. I played the recorder to max volume, but I got no reaction. I could hear the TV blaring outside, so I tried again a couple more times before giving up. The TV was drowning out the sound of the recorder. Things were not going according to plan. This deaf bitch was fucking up our glorious scheme. Now I could see why she needed to pay. I sneaked outside, being really quiet. No one was in the sister's room, so she must have been in the living room, I thought. I went into the living room. There, in all her splendor, was a non-sister. Face down, ass up, getting patted from behind by some skinny-looking faggot. They both had their backs turned to me. This was better than the plan. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The reason my mother hadn't swallowed me, my chance was to prove my worth as a Viking warrior. Never had my purpose in life been so clear. God had put me on this earth to make sure these horny motherfuckers got scared shitless. I'd carry this out, for he is the Lord and Savior! Allah, 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 Allah! My hands were sweaty, knees weak, arms were heavy. There was cum in my panties already, mom's spaghetti. I skipped to the recorder, to file number 4, where Anon was screaming like a Chinese virgin being ripped by a giga nigger. I walked to the living room stealth-like. This dude was panning that ass, good, no way that he would have never noticed even if I danced my way down there. I reached down for the remote, turned off the TV, and then immediately stopped. I took a breath and screamed at the top of my lungs, "What the fuck are you doing?" They both jumped back, startled as shit. As they did, I pulled down my cloak, revealing the glory of my maimed pig mask. I watched the colour wash off their faces, extinguished terror in their eyes. Lord, can one man experience such bliss? They were staring into the arsehole of God, and it was searing their mortal eyes. I was choking my own slobber, trying not to laugh. The girl screamed a high-pitched scream. Each note reverberated through my body as I achieved Shangri-La. The faggot made gesture as if to shield the girl with his body, but the girl was desperately trying to get up and run. It was like watching worms writhe and squirm after a summer's rain. Before they could regain good posture, I put my hand to my collar and pressed play on the recorder. Anon's ungodly shriek came forth from it. "Help me!" The dude pissed himself. Literally a stream of urine spilled forth from his erect shaft. Kind of impressed he could have kept a burner in the situation. Bravo, bravo. I lifted up both my arms, revealing the ritual dagger on my right hand, and screeched like the spawn of Satan. "I am the Liberator!" Words could not describe the sound that came from these two. Like the squawks of a deflating balloon. Like guinea pigs waiting to be fed. Like baby chihuahuas calling out for their mothers. They ran and stumbled on everything on the way out. They ran naked into the vast unknown. As I heard their screams, I knew my purpose had been fulfilled. I could die now. Rest forever. Gerald, the Liberator. I met Gerald later that day. He said things had not gone according to plan, but everything was okay. Came home to a bunch of police cars in the neighborhood. I was told what happened, since I had the receipt of the books from the cam surveillance at the library if necessary. I was not suspected of anything. He moved later that month. Got all of my privileges back after a while. Never heard from faggot again, and sis later joined the NRA. Finn.